Okay, welcome back. In this video we will learn more methods related to file class. Remember, if it is a file, then it won't be containing more files. It will be containing contents. It will be containing text, right? But if it is a directory, then it will be having more files. So if you want to see if it is a directory and if it contains more file, then you can use list method to see what are the files which are listed inside the directory. For example, here I continue with the same example. I say system.out. Here I write playing with directory, playing with directory, right? So here I say this one now file 2 is actually representing a directory, right? So I can write here a string list files equal to file 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 2 dot list. So you can see I can list all file as an array of a string by using list method on file, right? So I'm using this list method on file. So I say for integer I equal to 0, I less than files dot length, the number of files we have inside this folder, and then I plus plus, right? And then I do nothing, I just display system dot out dot println. I say is print file at I, right? So this will do nothing, it will just display name of the file, all name of the files inside this directory. So in this case, in this directory I've got 1 2 3 4 files, so all these names should be displayed, right? Let's check it. I run this program, run playing with directory. So you can see here increment, decrement operator .class, .java, .class, .java. So all these 4 files have been displayed, right? But say for example, if I am representing, if I am reading a directory like this, maybe a directory in which I have got directories as well as files, maybe this one, right? So if I paste it here, see what happens. If now I run the program, you can see quite a long list is available, because inside playing with the directory assessment. Now assessment is a folder, assessment and grading policy 2020, assessment and grading policy 2020, assessment and grading policy 2020 is a PDF file, right? So this one is the PDF file, right? So you can see now I'm pointing to a directory in which there is mix, there are files as well as directories, right? So maybe if you want to display if it is a file or directory, then you can probably call is method, right? So we have got a method which actually can tell us if it is a directory or if it is a file. So for that, maybe I can list file and file rather than listing as a string. I can list files, right? Now when I have got list file, it means now I have got an array of file rather than an array of a string, which means on each of the index I can call file related method. Had it been a string, I would have not been able to call file related methods, but now because I am listing file rather than listing them as a string, I am listing them as an array of file, which means that on each of file I can call file related method. So I can write here, maybe I say file at I plus is a, and then plus files at I dot is a directory directory. I can now write here a kind of conditional thing. Is directory question is directory or colon and question mark, right? The ternary operator is file, right? The ternary operator plus which actually system.out.println plus file that is directory colon and question mark. I think I need to do this, right? Okay, so ternary operator is a directory, ternary operator, Java's ternary operator, Java ternary operator, right? If you forget about the syntax, you just Google it. The ternary operator is the question and then colon mark, right? Question and then colon. So which means that I need to write here question, I need to write here colon. That's okay, right? So you can see now I say for each of the file at I, right? I can get name, right? I can write here name is a, and then I have got this ternary operator. The condition, this condition says if it is a directory, then write the word directory, otherwise file. So it is if else the ternary operator. So here you need a boolean statement. So you know that is directory will return you true if it is a directory. Now if it is true, then this part will be executed which says directory, otherwise this part will be executed which says file. So in this case we print name and then we print is a, and then we print either directory or file, right? So we actually check in each of the case whether inside this file we have file or directory. You can run it, so you can see in playing with the, if you want to make it larger you can do that. Okay, doc means it will be pasted forever, right? Okay, so you can playing with directory. Assessment is a directory, yes. Assessment and grading policy is a file, yes. Books is a directory. Code is a directory. Course outline oo.dox is a file. This is a file. This is a file. This is a directory. So you can see those which are file it is displaying, those which are directory it is displaying, right? Now say for example I ask you, can you count number of files and number of directories? So you can write here integer number of files and number of directories, both of them are equal to 0, right? Okay, you need to then do if statement, right? Anyway, I say if files at I dot is directory, if file that I is directory, then we say plus in number of directories, else we say plus number of files, right? So when a number of file, is that correct? Okay, I need to make it 0, right? Okay, so you can see here when this loop ends we have actually counted. So I can write here for the final statement system.out.println total files in the folder, or you can write here number of files, right? And then you can also write here total number of sub folders in the folder R, number of directories. That's it. So you can run it. End of the day, there are 15 files and 9 folders, right? And that should be okay, that should be true. 9 folder, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9, right? So you can trust on me that these are total 15 items, total 15 files. So you can see it returns me correctly how many files are there and how many folders are there, right? So you can play with these methods which we have inside the file class, right? Okay, then we have a very important interface which is file name filter, right? Now you need to code file name filter. It's a kind of interface. When you have this file name filter, you can actually filter some of the files, you can exclude some of the file, you can include only those files in the list as per your criteria, right? So if you want to implement that criteria, you need to pass filter in the list method. You can see here I list on the file, but then I pass only. What is only? Only is actually your file name filter, right? And your file name filter will have object of a class which you have created, and that class should have implemented the file name filter, right? So this only ext is our own class which actually implements file name filter. And when you implement file name filter, you will have a string extension. You can have your own constructor. We say this dot extension is equal to extension, right, equal to dot and ext, and then this file name filter I've got a except method which will be automatically called for each of the file, right? So this except method will accept file directory and string name, and it will return a name. If it ends with the extension, then it will return true, otherwise it will return false, right? So let us implement this interface. Maybe I can now write a new Java class. I call it file filter demo, right? File filter demo. So inside this I'm going to have my own class. I say Java only, right? Java only that implements file name filter. When you have got this file name filter, you need to import it, right? Fix import, Control Shift I. This will automatically import the required. This is a good thing in IDEs. You don't need to really remember which package I need to import. If you just click Control Shift I, or maybe you click Fix Import, it will automatically import the required folder, required package. File name filter. It is file, okay, in small, file name filter. Now if you press Control Shift and I, you will see that it has already imported this one by default, right? What's wrong with this one? Okay, now because I'm implementing file name filter, I need to implement accept method. Okay, I'm going to implement accept method. I have a string I call extension, right? Initially I keep it null, and then I have a constructor Java only, right? And I say string extension, and then I say this dot extension equal to extension. Probably ext is a reserve st. Okay, okay, ext is okay. Extension equal to extension. Okay, and then this accept method will accept two things, directory and a string, right? Public, it returns true, boolean. Accept, this accept file with directory and string or file. string name of the file inside that directory. Right, we just okay, I need to fix import. Import has been fixed. Right, okay, string string. Right, I return here, return name dot ends with, I say, dot Java. Right, if it ends with dot Java, not with dot Java but with extension, the one that you have accepted here. Right, if that is true, if now this name ends with the extension that you have passed here, then it will return true, otherwise it will return false. Right, now this is a kind of filter that you have created, and your filter is nothing but it's a Java class that implements file name filter. How to create it? Do nothing, just implement file name filter. You know that when you are implementing an interface, you need to override the abstract method which is inside that interface, and in this interface we have got an abstract method which is accept, and it does nothing, it actually returns true if your name of the file ends with the extension that you have passed inside the constructor. Right, now let's see how we are doing it inside main method. Right, public static void main string arg. Right, here we are going to create an object of this file name filter, and then we'll pass this object when we are listing files. Right, so I can write here Java only, I say maybe I call it filter equal to new Java only, and you can pass here the extension. Right, so I say extension is .java, which means that this time I want to list files which are ending with .java and nothing else. So inside this code, if I go to week 2 or maybe week 1, right, so I go inside this folder, I say list all file, but this time I will be listing files only those which are ending with Java extension. So I say file equal to new file. I'm passing the complete path. Right, the path is this one. And now, what's wrong with you, man? Illegal character. Okay, you can see slash is illegal, so we need to make it either forward slash or double backslash. Right, okay, so now I can write here file list equal to file dot list, and you can pass file name filter. Right, I need files, not a string, so I can call this method which is list file, and I'm passing filter which I have just created. Right, it means that incompatible file cannot, okay, this will be an array, not a single file. Right, okay, now I can write here for integer I equal to 0, I less than list dot length I plus plus. Right, okay, then system dot out dot println, I can just display list at I dot get name. Right, so this will display all the files. So you will see that inside this folder I have got sort by type. You have got class file as well as Java file, but I have because I have applied filter, which means that I will not have files which are not extending with Java extension, because here I have created my Java only class which implements file name filter, and I say the extension that I am looking for is .java, which means that now when you pass this filter to list files, this criteria will be considered. So in this list there will be only files which are ending with .java extension. All other files will not be executed. Let's run it. If you run it, you can see here for demo, if demo, you can see all Java files are there, but class files are not there. But if you're not passing this filter, you can see here, we can still work. I mean, you can create filter, but if you're not using it, that's fine. So in this case, if you're not passing filter, you can see all files are listed, be it class file or Java file, but all of them are listed. But when you are passing filter, then you know this criteria will be considered, right? And you don't need to give complete extension. You can see here we are using string method which says ends with. So if you just say ends with VA, it should still work, right? It should still work. So you can see here, because for demo.java, this ends with VA, this ends with VA, this ends with VA, this ends with VA. But if you have got another file which ends with lava, that will also be included. For example, we are actually making our compiler fool. It feels like it is checking extension, but it is actually not checking extension. It is checking last 5 characters, and if they are .java, which are 5 characters, then it will return true, otherwise it will return false. So it seems like we are checking extension, but we are not checking extension, we are actually checking the last 5 characters. Say for example, if I create a new text file, I name it lava, right? Now you know that this ends with VA, so this will also be included. You will see that this will also be included. We say ends with lava VA. So when you run it, so it should be included. I think this is happening because it's not refreshing. It's not refreshing. Maybe if I ends with lava, this has something to do with the buffer. I think because it is already maybe let me check. If I do not apply filter, can you read wow? Lava, yes, lava. Okay, this ends with txt. This does not end with VA, but this ends with txt, right? So if I say now I want to open it, I save it as, right? I say this is not a text file. I call it my file dot lava, right? Okay, but this becomes text file. This actually is a text file. So this ends with txt. So now if you say only those files which end with the T, those should be displayed. You can see here those I need to apply the filter. Now if you run it, only this text file is coming, right? So it actually, what is the last character of the file, based on that we are applying the filter. It's up to you, I mean whatever you apply the filter, but the good thing is Java provides you this facility to actually filter the file names. Okay, then file name filter, file class, you have already seen this. Now remember, these are 3 interfaces which are available in java.io. I think R2 closable is probably in java.lang, other 2 are in java.io. But these 3 interfaces are important. I mean, R2 closable provides support for try with resources. So you will see this thing which Java introduced after JDK 7, which actually does not require you to close the file explicitly, but your file can be closed automatically if you are using try with resource. We'll see a couple of examples for that. And then we also have close and flush method. Close method is inside closable, and remember auto closable actually implements closable, which means that this close method is also available in auto closable. And then flashable implements this flash method, which actually is to flash a local buffer so that it can be written to the file. We'll come back to see when and how to use flash and close methods. Right, these are the 3 exceptions which you need to be all the time dealing when you are dealing with the Java IO exception. One is IO exception, other is file not found exception, the third one is security exception. This one is very rare, but these 2 are quite frequent. IO exception, when you are performing input output, say for example You want to read a file, but that file is read protected, so an IO exception will be thrown. If you want to write to a file, but if that file is not existing, you will see file not found exception. Right. So as we move along, you will see how these exceptions should be handled, because you already have basic understanding of Java exceptions, so this should not be an issue for you. Right. There are two ways of closing a stream. When you have opened a stream, you can keep inside try block whatever code you want to play with a stream. You should catch IO related exception, either file not found exception or IO exception. And then I told you how important this final block is, because if there is some exception in the throw in the try block, you know that remaining part of the try will not be executed. And the execution of catch is also conditional, depending on if the catch block exception matches to the exception which is thrown by the try block. So obviously this try and catch, they cannot be trusted, but finally is the most trustworthy block. This block will be executed no matter if exception is thrown or not, but finally block will be executed. That is the reason why when you want to close a stream, when you want to close a connection to the file, those should be kept inside the finally block. But remember, this is a kind of old style, closing a stream thing. And JDK 7 onward, they have actually this thing, try, and you provide here the creation of a stream, and then you can use everything inside this try block. Here, you don't need to provide finally block. The resources that you have provided here can be a file, can be an IO exception, can be an IO stream, which actually tells you that when this try block ends, the connection to this resource should also be closed. So this try with the resource will see its syntax when we are actually using it, but this was introduced after JDK 7. So before JDK 7, you needed to have this kind of syntax. You keep code inside try block, you have catch block, and then inside finally you are going to close the connection. But after JDK 7, you can use try with resource, which actually says all the resources which are connection specific, they should be kept here, and then you don't need to explicitly or manually close connection to the exception. That connection will be automatically closed when your try block ends. Right. Okay, so I end this lecture here. We have now completed understanding the file class. We have seen how to play with files, how to play with directories. When I come back, I will be discussing different Java stream classes. Those are very interesting discussions. Please stay with me to learn all these exciting concepts. Thank you very much.